What is really going on behind the waning enthusiasm? Why did the army suddenly choose silence when Jin finally returned? Is it true that everything changed just because of one woman, Shin Seokjin? Or is it just something bigger that HYB is covering up? Jin's comeback isn't just music. It's an emotional drama involving old wounds, jealousy, and truths that have never been revealed to the public before. Who would have thought that the moment that should have been the most awaited, namely the return of BTS's Jin to the entertainment industry after his mandatory military service, was actually greeted with an unusual silence from most of his fans? It's not that Jin's work isn't worth celebrating. It's not that the music doesn't touch. So, what happened? Is everything really just a matter of one actress? And if so, is this fair to Jin, or is this the harsh reality of expectations that are never truly at peace in the world of fandom? Jin's return was supposed to be the main highlight across social media. ARMY has long been looking forward to the day when the calm face and warm smile of BTS's oldest member returned to decorate the screen. But what happened was different. Instead of an explosion of trending hashtags, a comeback party, or a massive international fan project as usual, this time it just sounded whisper, vague comments, and the most painful, indifference. One question arises like an irrepressible storm. Is all this because of Shin Seokjin's presence? In Jin's new song, Don't Say You Love Me, HYB decided to take a different approach. They turned the MV into a cinematic piece of romantic drama, blending Jin's visual beauty with the emotional acting of Shin Seokjin, an actress known for her deep expression and elegant aura. These two characters are positioned as lovers in the MV story, with a touch of emotional dialogue, hugs, and meaningful looks that make the audience trapped in the fantasy of two people who seem to be fighting for love in the midst of past wounds. But is everyone ready to see that? ARMY, long known as a supportive community, suddenly split. Some began to question the agency's decision. Some even openly expressed their disappointment at Jin's portrayal of being too emotionally open to female co-stars. Some call this a cheap marketing ploy. Some also suspect that HYB deliberately manipulates fans' emotions to create controversy and talk. But what is most surprising is the emergence of allegations that all this is actually designed to cover up something else that is much larger. And once again, the question arises, is HYB using Shin Seokjin as a shield? Not a few feel that this is not just about acting. Jin and Shin Seokjin's chemistry is considered too real, too natural for something just fictional. Even in some scenes in the teaser that leaked earlier, there are moments where Jin's eyes seem to be teary as he looks at Shin, as if he's not just playing a role. Does that mean anything? Or are we all just too sensitive? However, this is where the biggest paradox lies. If it is true that they are only acting, why do so many fans feel pain when watching them? Why is it so uncomfortable to see a genie hugging another woman even if it's just on screen? Is this evidence that Jin is too deep into playing his role, or is it too honest? Even before the MV was officially released, the international ARMY community had already started creating boycott lists. Some big fan sites refused to upload comeback promotional material. The Korean fanbase chose silence. There were no banners in train stations, no ads on New York Times Square billboards, as is commonly done. As it were, the genie had to return alone, without fanfare, without mass hugs from the fandom that used to call it worldwide handsome with pride, and the most painful question, does Jin know that some of his fans prefer not to welcome him just because he's acting with a girl? Jin, who is known for his easygoing personality and love of jokes, turned out to give a very different side to the project. He no longer appeared as a cheerful idol, but as a man who is hurt, loved, and afraid of loss. When in one scene he whispers softly, "Don't tell me you love me if you're going to," ARMY can only be silent. Is this just a script? Or do they come from a much deeper place within him? Another surprise came from a behind-the-scenes interview. When asked about working with Shin Seokjin, Jin just smiled and replied, "We've talked a lot. He's a man who understands his role." I think we have a common understanding of this story. A sentence that seems ordinary but for many fans felt threatening. Because that understanding in the idol world is often interpreted too far by those who feel possessed, and from here, everything starts to run away. There's been speculation that Jin and Seokjin's relationship has been going on much longer behind the scenes, and this MV is just a means to start slowly introducing that reality. There is also a theory that HYB deliberately arranged this drama because Jin was considered too neutral in internal conflicts that once rocked BTS. Some even said that the project was a form of indirect punishment because Jin did not choose a side in the so-called minor split between the two members who are now rarely seen together. Whatever the truth, one thing is clear. Jin's comeback is no longer about music. IT is turned into a field of questions, emotions, inner conflicts, and reopened wounds. The fans not only watched their idol return, they also had to watch themselves ask, can I accept Jin as a whole human being, or just want to keep him as my own? And if the genie knows that most love is conditional, will she still be smiling like she used to? One thing that cannot be denied is that Jin gave everything in this comeback. The song he wrote, the way he sang it, to the expression on his face when exploring the characters in the video clip, all showed that he had put his heart there. But for whom? For art? For his fans? Or for someone who is now the center of the storm? While HYB remains mum about the growing speculation, the Don't Say You Love Me music video continues to be inundated with ambiguous comments. Some praised it as Jin's best work. Some even blasphemed him for being too realistic. And the most striking? Many comments from old ARMY accounts that just left a broken heart emoji or said nothing at all. Silence can be more painful than insults. The question is no longer about who is at fault. But are we all, as spectators, fans, and humans, really ready to accept the fact that our idols can change, can love, can look into the eyes of others with feelings that we do not understand? Or we love only illusions, because then, who is more guilty? The genie who dares to be honest through works, or we who are not ready to see him as a human being? And if this comeback is a form of Jin's courage to say, I'm not just your idol, I'm also a man of heart, then will we remain silent? Or just finally ask yourself honestly, who exactly is making this comeback feel empty? And slowly, conversations that were once just discordant in a corner of the community are now starting to spread to all corners of the fandom. On the old forums that had been a place of solace for the ARMY such as Weverse, Twitter, and Discord, the debate about the Don't Say You Love Me video clip turned into an emotional battleground. Jin has the right to act, said one party. But why should it be so close? Why should it be so real? Why should it look like real love? They're not talking about the quality of the music. They no longer even discuss the technicalities of video clips. They're talking about the heart. Luca. Jealous. A feeling of loss for something that once felt so shared. Jin as belonging to the ARMY, and this isn't the first time fandom has faced the reality that their idols are human. But why does it feel more piercing this time? Why do many feel as if they have lost a genie, even when she has just returned? Some blame the agency. Some blame the industry. But not a few who unknowingly blame the genie himself. And behind it all, Shin Se-kyung's name keeps being referred to, time and time again, as a symbol of something much deeper. The ARMY's fear of the fact that Jin might be, it's not the same anymore, did I ask that so? In an interview that was never officially published but was leaked to the restricted community, a Don't Say You Love Me production staff member mentioned that Jin asked that the script be as honest as possible. He wanted to convey the emotions of love and loss in a real way, not a caricature of an idol who only knows how to smile sweetly. He wanted to show his wounds, fragility, and maybe something he had never done in front of the camera before. Then one more question arises. Is this song really about roles? Or about someone he once loved? Many mentioned that Jin's expressions in some scenes were too personal. The gaze was blank as Shin Se-kyung turned to leave him. The way he held his breath as he tried to speak, as if the sentence was too heavy to say. Up to one scene, which wasn't in the final MV version, but leaked on TikTok, features Jin sitting alone in the rain, whispering, I never wanted you to leave. The clip was removed, but there are enough who keep it. And that's where the speculation exploded. Fans began to dig through old archives, trying to find clues. Some even go back to the time before Jin was drafted, looking for if there was any hidden interaction between him and Shin Se-kyung. One photo from 2021 backstage at SBS Geo Taehyung that went viral was taken up again, a photo that shows Jin smiling slightly while greeting the actress behind the scenes. For some, it's just an ordinary moment. But for those who are now looking for the truth, it is the first clue of something that has long been hidden. One Korean fansite account of. But did they really leave the genie? Or are they just being hurt and do not know how to love him from a new side? That's the question that makes the most impression, especially when big fanbase accounts start quietly deleting comeback projects. Not because of hate, not because of disgust, but because they feel betrayed by a figure who has been so guarded. They feel that Jin reveals something that they have never been prepared for. The fact that he is a human being who can, and probably has, loved someone with all his heart. The words "Jin dating" start crowded in the comments column. But what hurts is not the possibility that he has a partner. What hurts is the way he delivers it. Through the work, through the song, through the looks and the hugs and the rain in the music video that seemed to speak. I've really felt it. And no one is ready for it. Some fans began to write open letters. One of the most viral is from a Japanese army, titled, "If You're Happy, Why Aren't We?" The letter was full of confusion, disappointment, but also deep love. "We know you want to grow, but can you wait for us just a little bit to catch up with you? Because we feel too far behind." The letter was translated into more than 12 languages by other fans, posted in various forums, read in a vibrating voice by fans who make podcasts. And that's where the highlight is. The love for the genie has not yet died out. It's just losing direction. But there is another side to this story that is no less surprising. The silent reaction of the other BTS members. Taehyung, who is usually active in voicing support for the returning members, did not mention Jin's song once. Even in a live broadcast that happened to coincide with the release of the "Don't Say You Love Me" video clip, he only said, "It's cold today, yes," like something disappeared. Is it just a coincidence? Or code? Jungkook too. He is usually the first to praise her. But until the third day after the release, there was not a single Instastory, tweet, or comment. Some fans try to defend by saying that they were busy or wanted to give Jin the full spotlight. But some others couldn't help but wonder, were they surprised, too? Then came the news from one of BTS' longtime staffers, who wrote on his personal account, "I didn't expect the concept would go that far. We all knew Jin wanted to try acting. But this feels too honest. Too close." The word "too close" became a trending tag in the Korean Weverse community. Some feel offended. Some were relieved that someone had finally said it out loud. But many more fell silent, looking at the video clip over and over again, figuring out which part of it actually made them feel hurt. Is it when Jin looks at Shin Se-kyung with teary eyes? Is it when they run in the rain as if they don't care about the world? Or is it that when they hold each other's hands like they don't want to let go anymore? And the most haunting question, did the genie ever dream of all that with someone else? Not as an act, but as a reality. HYB remained silent. They released only one official statement reading, "This video clip is the full artistic expression of Jin. We appreciate all forms of support from fans." But there is no clarification. There is no explanation as to whether Jin and Shin Se-kyung's relationship is purely professional or more than that. Shin Se-kyung posted a single sentence on Instagram, "Honest art will always shake, not soothe." The sentence triggered a new storm, because now everyone realizes that this is not just a music video. This is a form of Jin's silent recognition of the emotional life he has been covering up. And that's what makes some fans unable to accept it. Because during this time, Jin was known as a protective figure, a bearer of laughter, a person who is always strong. But now, he comes as a man broken by love, and as it turned out, he was able to convey it in a way that made everyone crumble. Is it wrong that many fans feel unable to raise this comeback? Don't we all love someone who eventually changes? Not because he was bad, but because he grew up. And that growth, While beautiful is sometimes painful, an ARMY senior who has been following BTS